Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Naomi. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, picking up after the events of last episode, Naomi now knowing that her parents are actual aliens and that they've been lying to her, because it's an extra layer of lying. It's like, okay, I had to get over the fact is, you knew I was an alien and you lied to me then and there, and alright, that's fine. But this is an extra level because Naomi had to go through this whole being an alien thing alone. Yes, she got Dee and eventually Zimbardo on her side, and she also had Annabelle, but it's still also the thing of, you guys knew what I was going through. You knew, like, when I was going through this kind of alone, trying to figure things out, if you had told me the truth then and there when I came to you being like, hey, I've got powers, I was like, all right, we got something to tell you. At least Naomi would have been able to swallow that pill a little easier, because it's like, right, you didn't want to tell me that I was an alien because you wanted me to have a normal life. Okay, the moment I started displaying abilities, you guys should have been then and there being like, all right, we're aliens. But it stems from them once again wanting her to have some semblance of a normal life, because they felt like if Naomi ever knew, they don't really say this, but I'm under the assumption it is, that if Naomi ever found out the truth about them, it kind of would disappear any type of normal attempt of a life. That it will always be the thing of, you are an alien and so are we, we're all from the same, not only same planet, we're all from, Earth 29, from a different universe, so it complicates things. So Naomi is staying with Annabelle, which we also get introduced to Annabelle's sister, was it Sophia, which I love, like, she kind of gets dragged along the entire time when Annabelle goes to see Jen. Well, she went to go get Naomi's clothes. I thought she was going in there to, like, snoop for something else, but it's like, no, she's sneaking in to get some of Naomi's clothes. And I love that Sophia can't help but run her mouth. It's like, no, I don't know why, but we're supposed to be mad at you. And it's like, oh, Naomi's never going to forgive you or something like that. And then they eventually go see Dee. And it's like, oh, wow, you know the tattoo guy in this place? Because he was like, oh, Annabelle and child. And it's like, you know the tattoo guy? Wow, your cool's going up like 200%, which Annabelle was like, I don't really need you to, like, tell me, like, measure my cool. But she's like, yeah, me and Dee, we go way back. I'm like, shut up, Annabelle, I love it. You're so adorable. You guys only became good friends, like, last episode, or rather the episode before last or something like that. I love it so much. It's so good. And, but I thought it was interesting because Annabelle is in a very complicated spot, because she wants to do what she can to help Naomi. And it's like, right, she sent me off to get some clothes, and I kind of failed at that because Jen started crying and feeling like, oh, like, will Naomi ever forgive me? And, like, it put Annabelle in a tough spot, because regardless of anything, like, she has to kind of put up a barrier between her and Jen and Greg, but she loves them, because even she says it herself, and even Jen says, like, they thought of Annabelle as, like, their second daughter, and she thought of them as, like, her second family, so it's a little harder on her cutting ties with them. And now it's like, right, I'm supposed to be helping my best friend, but I don't know how to, which Dee gives her the advice of, like, no, you can. Like, all you have to do is continue to be who you are, Annabelle. You be and do what you've always done, and just simply be there for Naomi like you always have. And she's like, well, you're pretty wise. And Sophia's like, he sure is, and smiles and gives him the eyebrow look. Like, the way she waved at him, it was kind of that cute thing of, like, almost like, it's like, oh, she's crushing super hard. It's like the most adorable thing of, like, yeah, she's like, oh my god, he's so dreamy. It's got that type of feeling vibe to it, and just Dee doesn't know how to handle that, and I think that's so adorable. Because Naomi has decided to go a little bad girl, which is bad girl for Naomi is skipping school because she's going off to get answers. And I think this speaks volumes, that no matter how pissed off Naomi is when it comes to the people around her, like not wanting to trust anyone, the fact is there's so many people that have your back that yes, I get you have every right to be pissed at Jen and Greg, but they've done so much. They've taken care of you. They loved you. Because almost Naomi's starting to question whether or not any of that was ever real. But Zimbardo was like, yeah, I knew them. I didn't really know them that well from Earth 29. I knew them in passing. But the moment I came to this Earth and found out they were your parents, they just wanted you to have a normal life. So I wanted you to have that too. So I kept my distance as well. I known about Jen and Greg, and I was waiting for them to eventually tell you the truth, because he hinted to it last episode, like, oh, I haven't told her everything. So, when he was talking to Jin last episode. So. But Naomi feels like she's kind of doesn't have... Because every time she turns around, it's like, Zimbardo told her some stuff, but he still keeps her in the dark about some things, and she's still pretty aware of that. Now, her parents have lied to her. She's tired of getting the truth from other people, and now she kind of wants to get it for herself. But I also think it is the naivety of being a kid. Like, you think you're old enough and going through enough that you're ready to hear the entire truth, and you're not, you know? But that's also the thing. They're not giving you the opportunity. They're taking the choice away from you. If they give you they should give you the choice to begin with and leave it up to you to decide what to do. And that's something they're going to have to do going forward. But it is the thing that she doesn't even realize what everyone kind of does to help her out. In fact, they have their issues, but Greg went to Zimbardo because it's not like he's asking for Zimbardo's help, but everything he's doing is for Naomi's sake. Naomi can end up hating me for the rest of her life. As long as she's safe, I don't care. He wants to do what's best for her. But obviously him and Jen have been kept in the dark about everything that went down at Star Labs, because the military was already working on devices to try and track alien energies. They just needed the last piece to the puzzle, ended up being Star Labs, because her energy is all over the place when she blew up the machine and stuff. So all he had to do was track it back to Naomi, because he doesn't have Jen and Greg's signatures, but I think they still emit an alien signature even if they don't have powers to necessarily trace. I think I'm still a little wonky on that, because I know the fact is that they even said it in this episode, explaining it again, that Dee's wings sense alien abilities, but Jen and Greg don't have powers. So, but that's why I'm still wondering, like, so that's why I don't think they could ever leave an alien signature behind, because that's the reason why, like, he wasn't just tracking, like, in general alien signature, because you need something to be the base example of to trace. So he ended up finding Naomi's like energy source, all energy signature all over that room, so he was able to track her. If he had access to something that was related to Jen and Greg's molecular stuff, then maybe he'd be able to track them beyond just like having ability beyond, but rather than just being able to track abilities, which once again they don't have any. But once again, my point was that Naomi didn't tell them everything, so she's making their jobs a little harder, because they're not fully in the know of everything that Naomi's gotten up to, and they don't know what else they need to protect her from. So she kind of puts them in a tough spot, but doesn't even realize like they've gone so far for her sake. But Zimbardo was at least telling Greg that him and Jen can't keep going on like this, because Brutus is coming, and you may want to let her have a normal life, but you know the destiny that's awaiting her. And he's like, right, she's a 16-year-old girl. Like, this destiny she has, it's something you're pushing on her. That's not what we as her parents want. But it's like, at this point, it might not be about what you guys want anymore, because their approach to things is not helping Naomi prepare for what is going to be the inevitable. Like, eventually it will come down to her and Brutus, and the question is, will she be ready when the time comes? So Naomi is spending most of the episode hanging out with Lourdes, and she's trying, because when she went to Annabelle to find the rock that she first came down to, Naomi blew it up and found a device underneath it. Now, this is all interesting because there was an earlier conversation that back when they were having dinner all together, Dee had referenced the light, and Naomi was like, yeah, but what was that all about? It's like, right, a light of that magnitude is supposed to be a signature of kind of representing someone's appearance in this world. Like someone, like kind of almost like a giant bullseye landing point is what it's supposed to be. But Jen and Greg said there wasn't one. And that, even then, in that episode, I was like, I kept bringing it up how it seemed like Jen and Greg were still hiding stuff. But it was like, for what purpose? Why were they hiding? Like, it's like, right, if they didn't see a light, but why would they lie about that? And it turns out that underneath that rock was that device. It's what is a transmatter device. It allows not only the teleportation to like other worlds, but other dimensions as well. So not only could this take you to a different planet, it could also take you to another universe. In this example, take them to Earth 29 that they're all from. Because it turns out the one who made it is Akira. Because when Naomi went to that bar that Adam and Dee went to, all the aliens that saw it were kind of flipping out. And now we know why. Because without a ship, all of them are pretty much stranded on this planet, can't go anywhere. But like with that device, you can go probably anywhere in this universe or the next. And Akira knows all about it because she's the one that she made the device. It was her means of helping the 29 escape from Earth 29, but it was always meant to be a means for Naomi to always go back if she wanted to. But Akira's like, I wouldn't recommend that. I guess because of the Brutus situation, but maybe it's like, right, Earth 29 might not be the place you think it is. I mean, the way, because we got introduced to Mac, which, do correct me in the comments down below, I might even have to just look it up myself. Isn't that the actress who, hasn't she, like, I want to say, wasn't her character's name Piper in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I believe that was her character's name. She's also in Walking Dead because she's part of the Oceanside crew, and I'm like, that's so fascinating. If it is the same actress, because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is her. But like I said, it could be wrong. If it is her, that's interesting. You've been Marvel, DC, and Image. You're circling the comic book stuff, which I thought was kind of neat. But Mac is sent here by Brutus to get Akira's help. Which Akira did help out Brutus before, but that was just to get Zimbardo. But for her, it's like, right, let me help you capture Zimbardo because Zimbardo already betrayed us, which that's still an issue between them. Neither one of them wants to trust each other, which I think that's a really dope element of this episode is like trust issues kind of arise all across the board. Naomi has a hard time trusting her parents. Hell, she got caught at the comic book store by her principal, which, side note, I love it. The product placement, I mean, granted, the entire comic book store is product placement because it's DC Comics, but the comic that Akira picked up literally has Titans on the back. Not just Teen Titans, it's a literal product placement ad for Titans. It's specifically a photo of season 3. It's a picture of Barbara, Dick, Tim, and Jason. And I was like, that, because the shot stays on it for about 5 seconds. I was like, you bastards, you cheeky product placing bastards. I love it. I didn't even talk about it in Superman and Lois, but in Bizarro World, there was like the Bizarro WB logo. It was the old WB logo, in fact, the gold and blue. That one, but it was like backwards. Like, it's just, once again, I always love stuff like that. But nevertheless, and Jen and Greg had to help her out because, you know, it's like, right, regardless of anything, we're still your parents. You need to come home because we're telling you to. But she's like, right, unless you've got powers, you're not going to stop me. I'm like, yo, look at Naomi go renegade. Once again, this is super renegade for Naomi because she's always been the good kid. Obviously, that's been slipping a little bit, but she's still been the good kid. But now this is her like rebelling against her parents. She even says like most people butt heads with their parents. I've butted heads with my parents, but that's also like that was always on me being like a fucking teenager and like you think you know so better. Like I wasn't good at conveying my feelings and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. So it's just like me just being a snot-nosed brat. Let's just kind of label it as that and move on. But it's like, yeah, like Naomi is like, right, everyone kind of goes through that. Every teenager kind of rebels and fights with their parents. She never did. This is why this hurts so much. Yeah, her and her parents have had their disagreements recently, but that's also the thing of like, in totality, she's butted head more with her parents over the course of this series than she has her entire life. That's what makes it so hard for her, you know? To the point when she's training with Dee kind of stops the training because she's not focused. And for her, it's just, her parents have been her foundation. No matter how things were, she could always rely on them. They were her rock, her foundation. And now that they're gone, now that things are what they are, her foundation's shaky and she doesn't know what to do. But Dee reminds her she's stronger than she gives herself credit for. It's like, you can stand on your own 2 feet and don't let anyone ever make you feel like you can't. So I thought that was neat. That regardless of anything, she always has Annabelle and Dee in her corner. So I think that's pretty dope. But circling back to Akira a little bit. She goes to see Zimbardo, and once again, it's the bad blood of, like, neither one can trust each other. It's like, oh, I don't trust you because you sold me out to Brutus. So I sold you out to Brutus because you betrayed the 29. It's like, no matter what I say, Akira, you will never, ever believe me. And she's like, yeah, and you will never trust me either. We both have Naomi's best interest at heart. And it does seem like that is the case. Not unless Akira's playing the long game. We'll have to wait and see, but when she was in trouble and Max showed up, they were there to back her up. And by siding with Naomi, Akira has put herself in Brutus's crosshairs. Once again, she could be playing the super long game of like, right, let me gain Zimbardo and Naomi's trust. And in the end, I feel like it's 50-50 on how that could still play out. She could be playing them or she could be sincere. It's hard to say. Because Akira initially was kind of like, right, she wanted nothing to do with Naomi because she didn't believe Naomi was what Zimbardo kind of put on her to be, that this one who could save their world and everything. Because once again, he hasn't told her everything. He's told her some of the stuff like Brutus and everything, but Akira was like, right, Brutus will not stop. He believes Naomi to be the danger to his very existence. He will kill her and anyone close to her just to get to her. It's like, so everyone she cares about is in danger. And Zimbardo's like, right. So not only will we protect her, we'll work together to protect everyone that she cares about, which will include Nathan, Lourdes, Anthony, Annabelle, Jacob, and obviously her family. Which, speaking of Lourdes, things got complicated this episode because Lourdes ended up being the person that Naomi kind of turned to in a situation, whether it was trying to get to that bar for aliens so she could find out about the device, or just end up partying. Lourdes invited her to do. The moment they were dancing and having fun, I was like, oh boy, this is about to get awkward, isn't it? And just especially when they were off on their own like that, I was like, oh boy. And Lourdes tried to kiss her. I was like, oh, but she's dating someone. It's like, all right, you know that. But Lourdes is like, oh, so where is he right now? It's like, Lourdes, that doesn't matter. You know I'm with Nathan right now. It's like, oh boy. I mean, that switch wasn't going to be flipped that easily. Like, Anthony's in a place where he was able to flip that switch to be like, it's okay, I understand. But obviously it's the thing of like, it is a little inconsiderate and a little messed up because it's like, right, you have 3 people in your friend group who you like, but also you do know how they feel about you. You know how Lourdes feels about you. But it's like, I guess it's like, right, the moment I started dating Nathan, I thought it would have been okay. But it's like, Lourdes is like, no, but oh, so what was this all? Us hanging out was just you using me for a ride and trying to make your boyfriend jealous? It's like, Naomi was taking a whole bunch of pictures, and you're like, at first I was like, oh, she's just celebrating the moment. She's not doing, but it's like, is that what she was doing? Was she actually trying to make Nathan jealous the entire time? And even Annabelle kind of references that later on, and then Naomi is like, too soon, and she's like, oh, sorry about that. But I'm like, wow, that's understandable why Lourdes will feel that way, but it's like, right, she doesn't want to just be her friend because like Lourdes is like, I know what I want, and that's a complicated thing. Naomi's at a point in her life where, yeah, like dating Nathan was something she knew, but also now it's like every time she turns around, her life's in more turmoil and she doesn't know what she wants. She doesn't know what the truth is, what she's going to do at the end of the day, so you kind of feel awkward. So it's such a shame too, because like Lourdes, Anthony, and Nathan all became friends at the party too, so for things to end up this way, Nathan's been avoiding her the entire time. Excuse me. I'm also curious, I still keep feeling like there's going to be some twist or development with Lourdes. I just don't know what. I just feel like maybe her secrets that she's keeping are just more personal stuff that she doesn't want to delve into. But I'm just like, it feels like there's going to be some interesting development with that. I'm just not quite sure what to make of it. Naomi did come back home, but for her, it's like, just because I came back home, it doesn't change the fact is that like things aren't like fixed and things aren't going to necessarily go back to the way they are. And they're like, it's okay. they're ready to talk with her, give her whatever answers she needs when the time comes, when she's ready for it. So I think everything will work out. I believe so, because I think Naomi, because she even said it when she was arguing with him, is like, do you guys think I don't want to just talk to you? That I don't want to hear, like, I would love to hear some excuse that would make it so that everything that you've done will be a-okay, but it just, I can't. She's just so heartbroken and angry all at once, and just, there's so many moving pieces to this. Like, she's got to worry about the Brutus thing, and now even more people are coming after her. Because Brutus actually wants to join forces with her, because keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. And because as powerful as she is, she can save their world. But if Brutus sees her as a threat, he's probably going to try and lure her in to be an ally, so that it's like, right, with us together, we can save Earth 29, but also I keep you close enough that if you ever prove to be... he probably will force her hand, like, right, once again, every person that she cares about will be threatened unless she falls in line. So I'm excited to actually see who Brutus is going to be. Is it going to be is Brutus going to be portrayed by an actor that is a familiar face? You know, it doesn't have to be like a well-known actor or something, but I'm going to be curious if it's going to end up being an actor I'm familiar with or not. Who just getting to know who that character is, the main antagonist behind all of this. But I'm very excited to ultimately see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. To the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.